Agamemnon by Aeschylus.
This waste of year-long vigil, I have prayed God for some respite, watching elbow-stayed as sleuth-hounds watch above the Atreides hall, till well I know yon midnight festival of swarming stars and them that lonely go, heirs to man of summer and of snow, great lords in shining, throned in heavenly fire. And still I await the sign, the beacon pyre that bears Troy's capture on a voice of flame shouting o'er seas. So surely to her aim cleaveth a woman's heart man passionate. And when I turn me to my bed, my bed, dew-drenched and dark and stumbling, to which near cometh no dream nor sleep, but always fear breathes round it, warning, lest an eye once fain to close may close too well to wake again. Think I perchance to sing or troll a tune for medicine against sleep, the music soon changes to sighing, for the tale untold of this house, not well mastered as of old. Howbeit, may God yet send us rest, and light the flame of good news flashed across the night. Oh, kindler of the dark! Oh, daylight, birth of dawn, and dancing upon Argive earth for this great end! Oh, hail! What ho, within? What ho? Bear word to Agamemnon's queen to rise like dawn and lift an answer strong to this glad lamp her women's triumph song. If verily, verily, Ilion's citadel is fallen as yon beacon's flaming tell, and I myself will tread the dance before all others. For my master's dice I score good, and mine own tonight 3 6s plain. Oh, good or ill, my hand shall clasp again my dear lord's hand returning. Beyond that I speak not. A great ox hath laid his weight across my tongue. But these stone walls know well, if stones had speech, what tale were theirs to tell. From me, to him that knoweth, I can yet speak. If another questions,
10 years since Ilion's righteous foes, the Atreides strong, Menelaus and eke Agamemnon arose. 2 thrones, 2 scepters, yoked of God, and 1,000 galleys of Argos trod the seas for the righting of wrong.
Wrath of battle about them cried, as vultures cry, whose nest is plundered, and up they fly. In anguish lonely, eddying wide, great wings like oars in the waste of sky, their task gone from them no more to keep watch o'er the vulture babes asleep.
But one there is who heareth on high, some Pan or Zeus, some lost Apollo, that keen bird-throated suffering cry of the stranger wronged in God's own sky, and sendeth down, for the law transgressed, the wrath of the feet that follow.
So Zeus, the watcher of friend and friend, Zeus who prevaileth in after quest for one beloved by many men, on Paris send the Atreides twain. Yea, sent him dances before the end for his bridal cheer, wrestlings heavy and limbs forspent, for Greek and Trojan the knee earth bent, the bloody dust and the broken spear. He knoweth that which is here, and that which shall be followeth near.
He seeketh God with a great desire. He heaps his gifts, he assays his pyre, with torch below and with oil above, with tears, but never the wrath shall move of the altar cold that rejects his fire.
We saw the avengers go that day, and they left us here, for our flesh is old, and serveth not, and these staves uphold, and strengthen like the strength of a child at play.
For the staff that springs in the young man's hand, and the valor of age they have left the land, and the passing old, while the dead leaf blows, and the old staff gropeth his 3-foot way. Weak as a babe and alone he goes, a dream left wandering in the day.
But thou, O daughter of Tyndareus, Queen Clytemnestra, what need, what news, what tale or tiding hath stirred thy mood, to send forth word upon all our ways, for incensed worship, of every god that guards the city, the deep, the high, gods of the mart, gods of the sky, the altars blaze.
One here, one there, to the sky night the firebrands flare, drunk with a soft and guileless spell of balm of kings from the inmost cell.
Tell,
Tell,
O Queen,
and reject us not all that can or that may be told, and healer to be this aching thought which one time hovereth evil cold.
and then from the fires thou kindlest, will hope be kindled and hungry care fall back for a little while, nor tear the heart that beateth below my breast.
The sign! Seen on the way, eagles tearing a hare with young. It is ours to tell of the sign of the war-way given to men more strong, for life that is kin unto ours yet breathes from heaven a spell, a strength of song.
How the twin-throned might of Achaea one crown divided above all Greeks that are, with avenging hand and spear upon Troy was guided by the bird of war.
'Twas a king among birds to each of the kings of the sea, one eagle black, one black but of fire-white tail, by the house on the spear hand and stationed that all might see. And they tore a hair and the life in her womb that grew, yea, the life unlived and the races unrun they slew.
Sorrow, sing sorrow, but good prevail, prevail. How Calchas read the sign, his vision of the future, and the war-seer wise as he looked on the Atreid yoke, twain-tempered, knew those fierce hair renders the lords of his host, and spoke, reading the omen true.
At the last, this hunt hunteth Ilion down, yea, and before the wall, violent division, the fullness of land and town, shall waste withal.
If only God's eyes gloom not against our gates, and the great war curb of Troy for smitten fail, for pity lives in those winged hounds she hates, which tore in the trembler's body the unborn beast, and Artemis abhorreth the eagle's feast. Sorrow, sing sorrow, but good prevail, prevail.
Hail, thou beautiful one, thou tender lover of the dewy breath of the lion's child, thou, the delight through the den and cover of the young life at the breast of the wild.
Yet,
oh,
oh, fulfill the sign of the
the
eagle's
eagle
kill.
kill.
Be the vision accepted, albeit horrible. But yeah,
Yeah.
stay her, O Paean, stay.
For lo upon other evil her heart she setteth, long wastes of wind, held ship in unventured sea. On, till another shedding of blood be wrought. They kill but feast not, they pray not, the law is broken. Strife in the flesh, and the bride she obeyeth not, and beyond, there abideth in wrath reawoken. It plotteth, it haunteth the house, yea, it never forgetteth, wrath for a child to be. So
Calchas, reading the wayside eagle's sign, spake to the kings blessing and words of bale, and like his song be thine. Sorrow, sing sorrow, but good prevail, prevail. Such religion belongs to old and barbarous gods and brings no peace. I turn to Zeus, who has shown man how to learn by suffering. Zeus!
Zeus!
Zeus! Whate'er he
Whatever he
be,
be,
if this name he loved to hear,
here,
this
this
he
he
shall
shall
be
not
called of
be
me,
called of me. Search
searching
the
earth
earth
and
and
sea,
sea
air,
and air,
refuge
refuge
nowhere can
nowhere I can find.
save him only, if my mind will cast off before it die the burden of this vanity.
One there was, who reigned of old, big with wrath to brave and blast. Lo, his name is no more told, and who followed met at last his third thrower and his dawn.
Only they whose hearts have known Zeus, the conqueror and the friend, they shall win their vision's end. Zeus the guide, who made man turn thoughtward, Zeus who did ordain man by suffering shall learn.
So the heart of him again, aching with remembered pain, bleeds and sleepeth not until wisdom comes against his will. 'Tis the gift of one by strife lifted to the throne of life. Agamemnon accepted the sign, then came long delay, and storm while the fleet lay at Aulis.
That day the elder lord marshal of the Achaean ships strove not with the prophet's word, bowed him to his fate eclipse, when with empty jars and lips parched and seas impassable, fate on that Greek army fell, fronting Chalcis as it lay by Aulis in the swirling bay.
Till at last Calchas answered that Artemis was wroth, and demanded the death of Agamemnon's daughter, the king's doubt and grief. And winds blew from the Strymon river, unharbored, starving winds of waste endeavor, man-blinding, pitiless to cord and bulwark, till the flower of Argos was aghast and withered. Then through the storm rose the war-seer's song, and told of medicine that should tame the tempest, but bow the princes to a direr wrong.
Then Artemis he whispered, he named the name, and the brother kings, they shook in the hearts of them, and smote on the earth their staves, and the tears came. But the king, the elder, hath found voice and spoken, a heavy doom, sure, if God's will were broken.
But to slay mine own child, whom my house delighteth, is that not heavy, that her blood should flow on her father's hand hard beside an altar? My path is sorrow wheresoe'er I go. Shall Agamemnon fail his ships and people, and the hosts of Hellas melt as melts the snow?
They cry, they thirst for a death that shall break the spell, for a virgin's blood. 'Tis a rite of old men tell, and they burn with longing. O God, may the end be well. But the ambition drove him till he consented to the sin of slaying his daughter, Iphigenia, as a sacrifice.
To the yoke of must be, he bowed him slowly, and a strange wind within his bosom tossed, a wind of dark thought, unclean, unholy, and he rose up, daring to the uttermost.
For men are bolded by a blindness, straying towards base desire, which brings grief hereafter. Yea, and itself is grief. So this man hardened to his own child's slaying, as help to avenge him for a woman's laughter, and bring his ships relief.
Her father, father, her sad cry that lingered, her virgin's heart's breath, they held all as naught. Those bronze-clad witnesses in battle hungered, and there they prayed, and when the prayer was wrought, he charged the young men to uplift and bind her, as ye lift a wild kid high above the altar. Fierce huddling forward, fallen, clinging sore to the robe that wrapped her, yea, he bids them hinder the sweet mouth's utterance, the cries that falter, his curse forevermore.
With violence and a curb's voiceless wrath, her stole of saffron then to the ground she threw, and her eye with an arrow of pity found its path To each man's heart that slew. A face in a picture striving amazedly.
Little maid who danced at her father's board, the innocent voice man's love never came nigh, who joined to his her little paean cry, when the third cup was poured.
What came thereafter I saw not, neither tell, but the craft of Calchas failed not. 'Tis written, he who suffereth shall learn, the law holdeth well in that which is to be. Ye will know at last.
At last,
Why weep
why weep
before the
for the
hour?
hour?
For
For
come
come
It
it shall,
shall, as
as
out
out
of
of
darkness
darkness
dawn,
dawn.
only make good from
good
all
from
this
all this
evil
evil
flower.
power.
So praise this
Praise
heart
the
of
heart of
Argos,
Argos,
his frail
Frail
tower,
tower,
guarding the land.
guarding the land.
Before thy state, O Queen, I bow mine eyes. 'Tis written, when the man's throne empty lies, the woman shall be honored. Hast thou heard some tidings sure, or is it hope hath stirred to fire these altars? Dearly though we seek to learn, 'tis thine to speak or not to speak.
Glad-voiced, the old saw telleth, comes this morn the star-child of a dancing midnight born, and beareth to thee, to thine ear, a word of joy. Beyond all hope, the Greek hath taken Troy.
How? Thy word flies past me, being incredible.
Iliona's ours, no riddling tale I tell.
Such joy comes knocking at the gate of tears.
Aye, 'tis a faithful heart that I declares.
What warrant hast thou? Is there proof of this?
There is, unless a god hath lied, there is.
Some dream shape came to thee in speaking guise?
Who deemeth me a dupe of drowsing eyes?
Some word within that hovereth without wings?
Am I a child to hearken to such things?
Troy fallen! But how long? When fell she? Say!
This very night that mothered this new day.
And who of heralds with such fury came?
A fire god from Mount Ida scattering flame, whence starting beacon after beacon burst in flaming message hitherward. Ida first told Hermes Lemnian rock, whose answering sign was caught by towering Athos the divine. With pines immense, yea, fishes of the night swam skyward, drunken with that leaping light which swelled like some strange sun, till dim and far Makistos watchmen marked a glimmering star. They, nowise loath nor idly slumber one, sprung up to hurl the fiery message on. And a far light beyond the Euripes tells that word hath reached Messiapon's sentinels. They beaconed back, then onward with a high heap of dead heather flaming to the sky, and onward still, not failing nor a swoon, across the Aesopus like a beaming moon the great word leapt. And on Catharian's height uproused a new relay of racing light. His watchers knew the wandering flame, nor hid their welcome, burning higher than was bid. Out over Lake Gorshaphus then it floats to Aegypanthos, waking the wild goats, crying for fire, more fire, and fire was reared, stintless and high, a stormy streaming beard that waved in flame beyond the promontory rock ridge that watches the Saronian sea, kindling the night, then one short swoop to catch the spider's crag, our city's tower of watch, whence hitherto the Atreides' roof it came, a light, true fathered of Idaean flame, torch bearer after torch bearer, behold the tale thereof in stations manifold, each one by each made perfect ere it passed, and victory in the first as in the last. These be my proofs and tokens that my lord from Troy hath spoke to me a burning word.
Woman, speak on! Hereafter shall my prayer be raised to God. Now let me only hear again and full the marvel and the joy.
Now, even now, the Achaean holdeth Troy. Methinks there is a crying in her streets that makes no concord. When sweet unguent meets with vinegar in one phial, I warrant none shall lay those wranglers lovingly at one. So conquerors and conquered shalt thou hear two sundered tones, two lives of joy or fear. Hear women in the dust about their slain husbands or brethren, and by dead old men, pale children who never more shall be free, for all they loved on earth cry desolately. And hard beside them war-stained Greeks, whom stark battle, and then long searching through the dark, hath gathered ravenous in the dawn to feast at last on all the plenty Troy possessed. No portion in that feast, nor ordinance, but each man clutching at the prize of chance. Aye, there, at last, under good roofs they lie, of men spear quelled, no frosts beneath the sky, no watches more, no more bitter doony dew. How blessed they will sleep the whole night through. These days they keep them free from sin, towards alien conquered shrines, and them within who watch unconquered, maybe not again. The smiter shall be smit, the taker ta'en. May God but grant their fall not on that host, the greed of gold that maddeneth, the lust to spoil inviolate things. But half the race is run which windeth back to home and peace. Yea, though of God they pass unchallenged, methinks the wound of all those desolate dead might waken, groping for its will. You hear a woman's word, be like a woman's fear, may good but conquer in the last incline of the balance of all prayers that prayer is.
O woman, like a man faithful and wise thou speakest. I accept thy testimonies, and turn to God with praising, for again is won this day that pays for all our pain.
O Zeus, all-ruler and night, the aid, gainer of glories, and hast thou thrown over the towers of Ilion thy net close laid, that none so nimble and none so tall shall escape withal the snare of the slaver that claspeth all?
And Zeus, the watcher of friend and friend, I also praise, who hath wrought this end. Long since on Paris his shaft he drew, and hath aimed true, not too soon falling, nor yet too far the fire of the avenging star.
This is God's judgment upon Troy. May it not be too fierce. Gold cannot save one who spurneth justice. The stroke of Zeus hath found them, clear this day the tale and plain to trace.
He judged, and Troy hath fallen. And have men said that God not deigns to mark man's hardy head trampling to earth the grace of holy and delicate things? Sin lies that way. For visibly pride doth breed its own return on prideful men. When their houses swell with happy wealth, breathe ever wrath and blood. Yet not too fierce let the due vengeance burn, only as deemeth well one wise of mood.
Never shall state nor gold shelter his heart from aching, whoso the altar of justice old spurneth tonight unwaking. The sinner suffers in his longing till at last temptation overcomes him, as longing for Helen overcame Paris.
The temptation of misery forceth him, the dread child of forescheming woe, and help is vain, the fell desire within is veiled not, but shineth bright like sin. And as false gold will show black when the true stone trieth, so doth fade his honour in God's ordeal, like a child. Forgetting all, he hath chased his winged bird, and planted amid his people a sharp thorn. And no God hears his prayer. Or, have they heard? The man so base beguiled they cast to scorn.
Paris to Argos came, love of a woman led him, so God's altar he brought to shame, robbing the hand that fed him. Helen's flight, the visions seen by the king's seers, the phantom of Helen and the king's grief.
She hath left among her people a noise of shield and sword, a tramp of men. Armed where the long ships are moored, she hath ta'en in her goings desolation as a dower. She hath stepped quickly through the great gated tower, and the thing that could not be, it hath been.
And the seers, they saw visions, and they spoke of strange ill. A palace, and a great king thereof. A bed empty, that was one pressed in love. And thou, what art thou? Let us be, thou so still, beyond wrath, beyond beseeching, to the lips reft of thee. For she whom he desireth is beyond the deep sea, and a ghost in his castle shall be queen.
Images in sweet guise carven shall move him nether, where is love amid empty eyes, gone forever. His dreams and his suffering, but the war he made caused greater and wider suffering.
But a shape that is a dream, mid the phantoms of the night, cometh near, full of tears, bringing vain delight. For in vain, when desiring, he can feel the joyous breath. Nevermore, from his arms it vanisheth, on wings down the pathways of sleep.
In the mid-castle hall on the hearthstone of the kings, these griefs there be, and these griefs passing these. But in each man's dwelling of the host that sailed the seas, a sad woman waits. She has thoughts of many things, and patience in her heart lieth deep.
Knoweth she them she sent? Knoweth she, lo returning, comes instead of the man that went, armor and dust of burning? The return of the funeral urns, the murmurs of the people.
The old changer Ares, who changes quick for dead, who poiseth his scale in the striving of the spears, back from Troy tendeth dust, heavy dust west with tears, sendeth ashes with men's names in his urns neatly spread.
And they weep over the men, and they praise them one by one, how this was a wise fighter, and this nobly slain, fighting to win back another's wife, till a murmur is begun, and there steals an angry pain against kings too forward in the strife.
There! By Ilion's gate, many a soldier sleepeth. Young men beautiful, fast in hate, Troy her conqueror keepeth. The shedder of blood is in great peril, and not unmarked by God. May I never be a sacker of cities!
But the rumor of the people, it is heavy, it is chill, and though no curse be spoken, like a curse doth it brood, and my heart waits some tiding, which the dark holdeth still, for of God not unmarked is the shedder of much blood.
And who conquers beyond right, lo, the life of man decays, there be watchers dim his light, in the wasting of the years he falls. He is forgotten, and hope dies. There is peril in the praise overpraised that he hears, for it is the thunder that is hurled from God's eyes.
Glory that breedeth strife, pride of the sacker of cities, yea, and the conquered captive's life. Spare me, O God of pities!
The fire of good tidings it hath sped the city through, but who knows if God mocketh, or who knows if it all be true?
Or the fashion of a child, or a brain dream beguiled.
To be kindled by the first torch's message as it burst, and thereafter as it dies to die too.
'Tis like a woman's scepter to ordain welcome to joy before the end is plain.
Who lightly opened are a woman's ears, her fence downtrod by many trespassers.
And quickly crossed, but quickly lost the burden of a woman's hopes or fear. Soon surely shall we read the message right, where fire and beacon call and lamps of light, true speakers are but happy lights that seem and are not, like sweet voices in a dream. I see a herald yonder by the shore, shadowed with olive sprays, and from his sore rent raiment cries a witness from afar, dry dust, born brother to the mire of war, that mute he comes not, neither through the smoke of mountain forest shall his tale be spoke, but either shouting for a joyful day, or else. But other thoughts I cast away. Oh, as good hath dawned, may God good shine on, we pray. And whoso for the city prayeth ought else let him reap the harvest of his thought.
Land of my fathers, Argus, am I here? Home, home at this 10th shining of the year, and all hope's anchors broken save this one. For scarcely dared I dream here in mine own Argus at last to fold me to my rest. But now, all hail, O earth, O sunlight blessed, and Zeus most high, and thou, O Pythian lord, no more on us be thy swift arrows poured. Besides, Scamander, well we learned how true thy hate is. Oh, as thou art healer too, heal us. As thou art savior of the lost, save also us, Apollo, being so tossed with tempest. All ye demons of the pale, and Hermes, Hermes, mine own guardian, hail, herald beloved, to whom all heralds bow. Ye blessed dead that sent us, receive now in love your children, whom the spear hath spared. O house of kings, O roof tree thrice endeared, O solemn thrones, O gods that face the sun, now, if ever in the days foregone, after these many years, with eyes that burn, give hail and glory to your king's return, for Agamemnon cometh! A great light cometh to men and gods out of the night. Grand greeting give him, aye, it need be grand, who God's avenging mattock in his hand hath wrecked Troy's towers and digged her soil beneath, till her God's houses, they are things of death, her altars waste, and blasted every seed whence life might rise. So perfect is his deed, so dire the yoke on Ilion he hath cast, the first Atreides, king of kings at last, and happy among men, to whom we give honor most high above all things that live. For Paris nor his guilty land can score the deed they wrought above the pain they bore. Spoiler and thief, he heard God's judgment pass, whereby he lost his plunder, and like grass mowed down his father's house and all his land, and Troy pays twofold for the sin she planned.
Be glad, thou herald of the Greek from Troy.
So glad I am ready, if God will, to die.
Did love of this land work thee such distress?
Tears stand in mine eyes for happiness.
Sweet sorrow was it then that on you fell?
How sweet, I cannot read thy parable.
To pine again for them that loved you true.
Did ye then pine for us as we for you?
The whole land's heart was dark, and groaned for thee.
Dark? For what cause? Why should such darkness be?
Silence in wrong is our best medicine here.
Well, your kings were gone. What others need you fear?
'Tis past. Like thee now, I could gladly die.
Even so, 'tis past, and all is victory. And for our life in those long years, there were doubtless some grievous days, and some were fair. But a god goes woundless all his way. Oh, could I tell the sick toil of the day, the evil night, scant decks, ill blanketed, the rage and cursing when our daily bread came not. And then on land 'twas worse than all. Our quarters close beneath the enemy's wall, and rain, and from the ground the river dew. Wet, always wet. Into our clothes it grew, plague-like, and bred foul beasts in every hair. Would I could tell how ghastly midwinter stole down from Ida till the birds dropped dead, or the still heat when on his noonday bed the breathless blue sea sank without a wave. Oh, why think of it? They are past and in the grave, all those long troubles. For I think the slain care little if they sleep or rise again. And we, the living, wherefore should we ache with counting all our lost ones till we wake the old malignant fortunes? If goodbye comes from their side, why let them go, say I. Surely for us who live, good doth prevail, unchallenged with no wavering of the scale. Wherefore we vaunt to these shining skies, as wide o'er sea and land our glory flies, by men of Argolis who conquered Troy, these spoils, a memory and an ancient joy, are nailed in the gods' houses throughout Greece, which whoso readeth shall with praise increase our land, our kings, and God's grace manifold, which made these marvels be. My tale is told.
Indeed, thou conquerest me. Men say, the light in old men's eyes yet serves to learn aright. But Clytemnestra and the house should hear these tidings first, though I their health may share.
Long since I lifted up my voice in joy, when the first messenger from flaming Troy spake through the dark of sack and overthrow, and mockers chid me, because beacons show on the hill must Troy be fallen, quickly born are women's hopes. I, many me did scorn, yet gave I sacrifice, and by my word through all the city our women's cry was heard, lifting in blessing round the seats of God, and slumberous incense o'er the altars glowed in fragrance. And for thee, what need to tell thy further tale? My Lord himself shall well instruct me. Yet to give my Lord and King all reverent greeting in his homecoming, what dearer drawn on women's eyes can flame than this, which casteth wide her gate to acclaim the husband who God leadeth safe from war? Go, bear my Lord this prayer, that fast and far he haste him to this town which loves his name, and in his castle may he find the same wife that he left, a watchdog of the hall, true to one voice and fierce to others all. A body and a soul unchanged, no seal of his broke in the waiting years. No thought of ease nor joy from other men hath touched my soul, nor shall touch till bronze be dyed like wool. A boast so faithful and so plain, I wot, spoke by a royal queen, doth shame her not.
Let thine ear mark her message. 'Tis fair seeming, and craves a clear interpreter. But, Harold, I would ask thee, tell me true of Menelaus. Shall he come with you, our land's beloved crown, untouched of ill?
Know not how to speak false words of weal, for friends to reap thereof a harvest true.
Canst speak of truth with comfort joined? Those two once parted, 'tis a gulf not lightly crossed.
Your king is vanished from the Achaean host, he in a ship. Such comfort have I brought.
Sailed he alone from Troy? Or was he caught by storms in the midst of you and swept away?
Thou hast hit the truth, good marksman, as men say, and long to suffer is brief to tell.
How ran the sailors' talk? Did there prevail one rumor showing him alive or dead?
None knoweth, none hath tiding, save the head of Helios, ward and watcher of the world.
Then tell us of the storm. How, when God hurled his anger, did it rise? How did it die?
It likes me not, a day of presage high, with dolorous tongue to stain. Those twain I vow stand best apart. When one with shuddering brow from armies lost back beareth to his home word that the terror of her prayers is come, one wound in her great heart, and many a fate for many a home of men cast out to sate the twofold scourge that worketh Ares' lust, spear crossed with spear, dust wed with bloody dust, who walketh laden with such weight of wrong, why let him, if he will, uplift the song that is hell's triumph. But to come as I am now come, laden with deliverance high, home to a land of peace and laughing eyes, and mar all with that fury of the skies which made our Greeks curse God? How should this be? Two enemies most ancient, fire and sea, a sudden friendship swore, and proved their plight by war on us poor sailors through that night of misery. And the horror of the wave towered over us, and winds from Strymon drave hull against hull, till good ships by the horn of the mad whirlwind gored and overborne, one here, one there, mid rain and blinding spray, like sheep by a devil herded, passed away. And when the blessed sun upraised his head, we saw the Aegean waste afoam with dead dead men, dead ships, and spars disasterful. Albeit for us, our one unwounded hull out of that wrath was stolen or begged free by some good spirit, sure no man was he, who guided clear our helm. And until now hath Saviour Fortune throned her on the prow. No surge to mar our mooring, and no floor of rock to tell us when we made for shore, till fled from that sea hell with the clear sun above us and all trust in fortune gone, we drove like sheep about our brain the thoughts of that lost army, broken and scourged with noughts of evil. And methinks if there is breath in them, they talk of us as gone to death. How else? And so say we of them. For thee, since Menelaus thy first care must be, if by some word of Zeus, who wills not yet to leave the old house forever desolate, some ray of sunshine on a far-off sea lights him, yet green and living, we may see his ship some day in the harbor. 'Twas the word of truth ye asked me for, and truth ye have heard.
Surely there was mystic meaning in the name Helena, meaning which was fulfilled when she fled to Troy. Who was he who found for thee that name truthful utterly? Was it one beyond our vision, moving sure in predecision of man's doom his mystic lips, calling thee the battle well, thee the strife encompassed Helen, yea, in fate's derision, Helen cities, Helen ships, Helen hearts of men, they knew her, when the dim and delicate fold of her curtains backward rolled, and to see, she threw her in the west wind's giant hold.
And with spear and sword behind her came the hunters in a flood, down the oar-blade's viewless trail, tracking till in Simwas' vale, through the leaves they crept to find her wrath, a seed of blood.
The Trojans welcomed her with triumph and praised Alexander, till at last their song changed and they saw another meaning in Alexander's name. So the name to Ilion came on God's thought-fulfilling flame. She a vengeance and a token of the unfaith to bread broken, of the hearth of God betrayed, against them whose voice swelled, glorying in the prize they held, and the spoiler's vaunt outspoken, and the song his brethren made, mid the bridal torches burning,
Till behold the ancient city of King Priam turned and turning, took a new song for her learning, a song changed and full of pity, with the cry of a lost nation, and she changed the bridegroom's name, called him Paris, ghastly wed, for her sons were of the dead, and her life one lamentation mid blood and burning flame.
like a lion's whelp, reared as a pet, and turning afterwards to a great beast of prey. Lo! Once there was a herdsman reared in his own house, so stories tell, a lion's whelp, a milk-fed thing, and soft in life's first opening among the sucklings of the herd. The happy children loved him well. An old man smile, and oft they say, in men's arm like a babe he lay, bright-eyed, and toward the hand that teased him, eagerly fawning for blood or play.
Then, on a day outflashed the sudden rage of the lion brood of yore. He paid his debt to them that fed with wrack of herds and carnage red, yea, brought him a great feast unbidden, till all the houseways ran with gore. A sight the thralls wed weeping from, a great red slayer, beard of foam, high priest of some blood-cursed altar God hath uplifted against that home.
So was it with Helen in Troy. And how shall I call the thing that came at the first hour to Ilion city? Call it a dream of peace untold, a secret joy in a mist of gold, a woman's eye that was soft like flame, a flower which ate a man's heart with pity?
But she swerved aside, and wrought to her kiss a bitter ending, and a wrath was on her harboring, a wrath upon her friending, when to Priam and his sons she swam quickly o'er the deep, with the god to whom she sinned for her watcher on the wind, a death bride, which whom brides long shall weep.
Men say that good fortune wakes the envy of God. Not so! Good fortune may be innocent, and then there is no vengeance. A grey word liveth from the morn of old time among mortals spoken, that man's wealth waxen full shall fall, not childless, but gets sons withal, and ever of great bliss is born, a fear unstanched and a heart broken.
But I hold my thought alone, and by others unbeguiled, 'tis the deed that is unholy shall have issue child on child, sin on sin, like his begetters, and they shall be as they were. But the man who walketh straight, and the house thereof, though fate exalt him, the children shall be fair.
It is sin, it is pride, it is ruthlessness that beget children like themselves, till justice is fulfilled upon them. But old sin loves when comes the hour again to bring forth new, which laugheth lusty amid the tears of men, yea, and unruth its comrade, wherewith none may plead his strife, which dareth on and on, knowing not fear nor any holy thing. Two fires of darkness in a house, horn true, like to their ancient spring. But justice shineth in a house low wrought, with smoke stained wall, and honoureth him who filleth his own lot. But the unclean hand upon the golden stair, with eyes averse she flieth, seeking where things innocent are, and recking not the power of wealth by man misgloried, guideth all to her own destined hour. All hail, O king! Hail, Atreus' son! Succor of cities, Ilion's bane! With what high word shall I greet thee again? How give thee worship, and neither outrun the point of pleasure, nor stint too soon? For many will cling to fair seeming the faster, because they have sinned erewhile, and a man may sigh with never a sting of grief in his heart. And a man may smile with eyes unlit and a lip that strains, but the wise shepherd knoweth his sheep, and his eyes pierce deep the faith like water that fawns and feigns. But I hide nothing, O king. That day, when in quest of Helen our battle array hurled forth, thy name upon my heart scroll was deep in letters of discord writ, and the ship of thy soul, ill-helmed and blindly steered, was it, pursuing ever through men that die, one wild heart that was fain to fly. But on this new day, from the deep of my thought and in love I say, sweet is a grief well ended, and in time's flow thou wilt learn to know the true from the false of them that were left to guard the walls of thine empty hall unfriended.
To Argos and the gods of Argylus all hail, who share with me the victory of this homecoming and the vengeance I did wreak on Priam's city. Yea, though none should speak, the great gods heard our cause, and in one mood uprising in the urn of bitter blood, that men should shriek and die, and towers should burn, cast their great vote, while over mercy's urn hope waved her empty hands and nothing fell. Even now in smoke that city tells her tale, the rack wind liveth, and where Ilion died, the reek of the old fatness of her pride from hot and writhing ashes rolls afar. For which let thanks, wide as our glories are, be uplifted, seeing the beast of Argos hath round Ilion's tower piled high his fence of wrath, and, for one woman ravished, wrecked by force a city. Lo, the leap of the wild horse in darkness when the Pleiads were dead, a mailed multitude, a lion unfed, which leapt the tower and lapped the blood of kings. Lo, to the gods I make these thanksgivings. But for thy words I marked them, and I mind the meaning, and my voice shall be behind thine. For not many men, the proverb saith, can love a friend whom fortune prospereth, unevidencing, and about the envious brain cold poison clings, and doubles all the pain life brings him. His own woundings he must nurse, and feels another's gladness like a curse. Well can I speak. I know the mirrored glass called friendship, and the shadow shapes that pass and feign them a king's friends. I have known but one, Odysseus, him we trapped against his own will, who once harnessed bore his yoke right well. Be he alive or dead, of whom I tell the tale, and for the rest touching our state and gods, we will assemble and debate a concourse of all Argos, taking sure counsel that what is well now may endure well, and if aught needs healing medicine, still by cutting and fire with all good will, I will essay to avert the after rack such sickness breeds. Aye, heaven hath led me back, and on this hearth where still my fire doth burn, I will go pay to heaven my due return, which guides me here, which saved me far away. O victory, now mine own, be mine alway.
Ye elders, council of the Argive name here present, I will no more hold it shame to lay my passion bare before men's eyes. There comes time to a woman when fear dies forever. None hath taught me, none could tell, save me, the weight of years intolerable I lived while this man lay at Ilion. That any woman should sit alone in a half-empty house, with no man near, makes her half blind with dread. And in her ear always some voice of wrath, now messengers of evil, now not so, then others worse, crying calamity against mine and me. Oh, had he half the wounds that variously came rumored home, his flesh must be a net, all holes from heel to crown. And if he met as many deaths as I met tales thereon, is he some monstrous thing, some Geryon, three-souled that will not die, till over his head 3 robes of earth be piled to hold him dead? Ah, many a time my heart broke, and the noose of death had got me. They cut me loose. It was those voices always in my ear, for that too young Orestes is not here beside me. As we were meet, seeing he above else doth hold the surety of our love. Let not my heart be troubled, it fell thus. Our loving spear friend took him, Strophius the Phocian, who warned me of annoy, too fronted thine own peril under Troy. And ours here, if the rebel multitude should cast the council down. It is men's mood always to spur the fallen so. Spake he, and sure no guile was in him but for me. The old, stormy rivers of my grief are dead. Now at the spring not one tear left unshed. Mine eyes are sick with vigil, endlessly weeping the beacon piles that watched for thee. And ever Aeschylus. And did I dream? A gnat's thin whir would start me like a scream of battle and show me thee by terrors swept, crowding too many for the time I slept, from which all stress, delivered and free-souled, I greet my lord. O watchdog of the fold, O forestay sure that fails not in the squall, O strong-based pillar of a towering hall, O single sun, to a father, age-ridden. O land unhoped for, seen by shipwrecked men, sunshine more beautiful than when storms are fled, spring of quick water in a desert dread, dead, dead. How sweet to be set free from any chain. These be my words, to greet him home again. No god shall grudge him. Surely I and thou shall have suffered in time past enough. And now, dismount, O head with love and glory crowned from this high car. Yet plant not on bare ground thy foot, great king, that foot that trampled toy. Ho, bondsmaids, up, forget not your employ, a floor of crimson broideries to spread for the king's path. Let all the ground be red where those feet pass, and justice, dark of yore, home light him to the hearth he looks not for. What follows next, our sleepless care shall see ordered, as God's good pleasure may decree.
Daughter of Leda, watcher of my fold, in sooth thy welcome, grave and amply told, fitteth mine absent years. Though it had been seemlier, methinks some other, not my queen, had spoke those honors. For the rest, I say, seek not to make my soft and woman's way. Cry not thy praise to me wide-mouthed, nor fling thy body down as to some barbarous king. Yet with broidered hangings strew my path to awake the unseen ire. 'Tis God that hath such worship, and for mortal man to press rude feet upon this broidered loveliness. I vow there is danger in it. Let my road be honored, surely, but as a man, not a god. Rugs for the feet and yonder broidered pal, the names ring diverse. Aye, and not to fall suddenly blind is all of the gifts the best God giveth, for I reckon no man blessed ere to the utmost goal his race be run. So be it, and if, as this day I have done, I shall do always, then I fear no ill.
Tell me, but this no wise against thy will?
My will, be sure, shall falter not nor fade.
Was this a vow in some great peril made?
Enough! I've spoken my purpose, fixed and plain.
Would Priam the conqueror think would he refrain?
Stores of broideries would be trampled then.
Lord, care not for the cavillings of men.
The murmur of a people hath strange weight.
Who feareth envy, feareth to be great.
It's graceless when a woman strives to lead.
When a great conqueror yields, 'tis grace indeed.
So in the war thou must my conqueror be.
Yield with good yield to wield is victory.
Well, if needs be must. Be it as thou hast said. Quick! Loose me those bounds, slaves, on which I tread, and while I walk you yon wonders of the sea, God grant no eye of wrath be cast on me from far. For even now it looks me not to waste mine house, thus marring underfoot the pride thereof, and wondrous broideries brought in far seas with silver. But of these enough. And mark, I charge thee, this princess of Ilion, tend her with all gentleness. God's eye doth see, and loveth from afar the merciful conqueror. No slave of war is slave by his own will. She is the prize and chosen flower of Ilion's treasuries, set by the soldier's gift to follow me. Now therefore, seeing I am constrained by thee, and do thy will, I will walk in conqueror's guise. Beneath my gate trampling sea crimson dyes.
Whoa!
There is the sea, its caverns who shall drain, breeding of many a purple fish the stain, surpassing silver, ever fresh renewed for robes of kings. And we, by right indeed, possess our fill thereof. Thy house, O king, knoweth no stint, nor lack of anything. What trampling of rich raiment, had the cry so sounded in the dooms of prophecy, would I have vowed these years as price to pay for this dear life in peril far away? Where the root is, the leafage cometh soon to clothe an house and spread its leafy boon against the burning star. And thou being home, thou on the midmost hearthstone of thy home, oh, warmth in winter leapeth to thy sign, and when God's summer melteth into wine, the green grape on that house shall coolness fall, where the true man, the master, walks his hall. Zeus, Zeus, true master, let my prayers be true, and oh, forget not that thou art will to do.
What is this that evermore a cold terror at the door of this bosom presage haunted, pale as death hovereth, while a song unhired and wanted by some inward prophet chanted speaks the secret at its core, and to cast it from my blood like a dream not understood, no sweet-spoken courage now sitteth at my heart's dear prow. Yet I know that manifold days like sand have waxen old, since the day those shoreward thrown cables flapped and line on line, standing forth for Ilion, the long galleys took the brine.
And in harbour mine own eye hath beheld again they lie, yet that lyreless music hidden whispers still words of ill. 'Tis the soul of me unbidden, like some fury sorrow-ridden, weeping over things that die. Neither waketh in my sense ever hope's dear confidence, for this flesh that groans within, and these bones that know of sin, this tossed heart upon the spate of a whirlpool that is fate. Surely these lie not, yet deep beneath hope my prayer doth run. All will die like dreams and creep to the unthought of and undone.
Surely of great weal at the end of all comes not content, so near doth fever crawl, close, neighbour, pressing hard the narrow wall. Woe to him who fears not fate, 'tis the ship that forward straight sweepeth strikes the reef below. He who fears enlightens weight, casting forth in measured throw. From the wealth his hand hath got, his whole ship shall founder not, with abundance overfraught, nor deep seas above him flow. Lo, when famine stalketh near, one good gift of Zeus again, from the furrows of 1 year, endeth quick the starving pain. But once the blood of death is fallen, black and oozing at a slain man's feet, alack.
By spell or singing who shall charm it back? One there was of old who showed man the path from death to day, but Zeus, lifting up his rod, spared not when he charged him to stay. Save that every doom of God hath by other dooms its way crossed, that none may rule alone in one speech outstripping groan. Forth! Had all this passion flown, which now murmuring hides away, full of pain and hoping not ever one clear thread to unknot from the tangle of my soul, from a heart of burning coal.
Thou likewise, come within. I speak thy name, Cassandra. Seeing the gods, why chafeth them, hath placed thee here to share within these walls our lustral waters, mid a crown of thralls who stand obedient round the altar stone of our possession. Therefore, come thou down, and be not over proud. The tale is told how once Alcmena's son himself, being sold, was patient, though he liked not the slave's mess, and more if fate must bring thee to this stress. Praise God, thou art come to a house of high report and wealth from long ago. The baser sort who have reaped some sudden harvest unforeseen are ever cruel to their slaves and mean in the measure. We give whatever's due.
To thee she speaks and waits. Clear words and true. Oh, doom is all around thee like a net. Yield if thou canst. Be like thou canst not yet.
Methinks, unless this wandering maid is one voice like a swallow bird with tongue unknown and barbarous, she can read my plain intent. I use but words and ask for her consent.
Ah, come, 'tis best as the world lies today. Leave this high-throned chariot and obey.
How long must I stand dallying at the gate? Even now the beasts to Hestia consecrate wait by the midmost fire, since there is wrought this high fulfillment, which no man thought. Wherefore, if 'tis thy pleasure to obey aught of my will, prithee, no more delay. If dead to sense, thou wilt not understand. Thou show her not with speech, but with brute hand?
The strange maid needs a rare interpreter. She is trembling like a wild beast in a snare.
Oh, for God, she is mad, and heareth but her own folly.
Oh,
A slave, her city all o'erthrown, she needs must chafe her bridle, till this fret be foamed away in blood and bitter sweat. I waste no more speech, thus to be defied.
I pity thee so sore, no wrath nor pride is in me. Come, dismount, bend to the stroke fate lies on thee, and learn to feel thy yoke.
Oh, toy. Dreams. Oh, Apollo.
Why sobst thou for Apollo? It is writ he loves not grief nor lendeth ear to it.
Oh, toy. Dreams. Oh, Apollo.
Still to that god she makes her sobbing cry, who hath no place where men are sad or die.
Apollo! Light of the ways, man! Mine enemy has lighted me to darkness yet again.
How? Will she prophesy about her own sorrows? That power abides when all is gone.
Apollo! Light of all this, that is! Mine enemy, where hast thou led me? What house is this?
The Atreides castle, if thou knowest not, I am here to help thee and help faithfully.
Nay. This is the house that God hath. There be many things that know its secret. Sore and evil things. Murders, and strangling death. 'Tis here. They're slaughtered men. A splashing floor.
Keen sense the strange maid seemeth like a hound for blood. What she seeks can sure be found.
The witness. I follow where they led. The crying of little children near the gate, crying for wounds that bleed, and the smell of baked meats their fathers ate.
Word of thy mystic power had reached our ear long since, howbeit we need no prophets here.
What would they? A new dreadful thing. A great sin plots in the house this day. Too strong for the faithful beyond medicining, and help stands far away.
This warning I can read not, though I knew that other tale it rings the city through.
Woman thou, the Lord who lay with thee, wilt lave with water, and then how speak the end? It comes so quick. A hand, another hand, that reach gropingly.
I see not yet these riddles, pierced with blind gleams of foreboding, but bemuse my mind.
What is that? What is it? There it comes clear. A net. Some net of hell. Nay, that lies with him. Is she the snare? And hath his blood upon it. It upholds well. Crowd of ravening voices, be glad, yea, shout and cry for the stoning, cry for the casting out.
What fury! Voices calls thee to be hot against this castle. Such words like me not. And deep within my breast I feel that sick and saffron drop, which creepeth to the heart, to die as last rays of life depart, and misfortune comes so quick.
Look, look! Keep his mate from the wild bull. A tangle of remnant I see, a black horn, and a bow, and a blow, and he falleth, full in the marble amid water. I counsel ye, I speak plain. Blood in the bath and treachery!
No great interpreter of oracles am I, but this, I think, some mischief spells. What spring of good hath seercraft ever made up from the dock to flow? 'Tis but a weaving of words, a craft of woe, to make mankind afraid.
Poor woman, poor dead. Yea, it is I, poured out like water among them. Weep for me. Ah, what is this place? Why must I come with thee? To die? Only to die?
Thou art born on the breath of God, thou spirit wild, for thine own weird to wail like to that winged voice, that heart so sore, which, crying alway, hungereth to cry more. Aeschylus, Aeschylus, till it sing her child back to the nightingale.
Oh, happy singing bird, so sweet, so clear, soft wings for her God made, and an easy passing without pain or tear. For me 'twill be torn flesh and rending blade.
Whence is it sprung? Once wafted on God's breath, this anguish reasonless, this throbbing of terror shaped to melody, moaning of evil blent with music high. Who hath marked out for thee that mystic path through thy woe's wilderness?
Alas for the kiss of Paris, his people bane. Alas for Scamander, water, the water my father drank. Long, long ago, I played about thy bank, and was cherished, and grew strong. Now by a river of wailing, by shores of pain, soon shall I make my song.
How, sayest thou, all too clear this ill word thou hast laid upon thy mouth? A babe could read thee plain. It stabs within me like a serpent's tune, the bitter thrilling music of her pain. I marvel as I hear.
Alas for the toil of a city worn unto death. Alas for my father's worship before the citadel, that flux, that bled, and that tumult of their breath. But no help from them came to save Troy towers from falling as they fell. Oh, I on the earth shall writhe my heart of flame.
Dark upon dark, new ominous words of ill. Sure there hath swept on thee some evil thing, crushing which makes thee bleed, and in the torment of thy visions sing these plain death-fraught oracles. Yet still thy end I cannot read.
For God, mine oracle shall no more hide with veils his visage, like a new-wed bride. A shining wind out of this dark shall blow, piercing the dawn, growing as great waves grow, to burst in the heart of sunrise, stronger far than this poor pain of mine. I will not mar with mists of my wisdom. Be near me as I go, tracking the evil things of long ago, and bear me witness. For this roof, there clings music about it, like a choir which sings one-voiced, but not well-sounding. For not good the words are, drunken and with blood to make them dare the more. A reveling rout is in the rooms, which no man shall cast out of sister furies. And they weave song, haunting the house, its first blind deed of wrong, spurning in turns that king's bed desecrate, defiled which paid a brother's sin with hate. Hath it missed or struck mine arrow? Am I a poor dreamer that begs and babbles at the door? Give first thine oath in witness that I know of this great dome that sin wrought long ago.
What should oath of mine, though bravely sworn, appease thee? Yet I marvel that one born far over seas of alien speech should fall so apt as though she had lived here and seen all.
The seer Apollo made me to see.
Was the god's heart pierced with desire for thee?
Time was. I held it shame hereof to speak.
Ah, shame is for the mighty, not the weak.
He wrestled, and his breath to me was sweet.
He came to the getting of children, as is meet.
I swore to Loxias, and I swore a lie.
Already thine the gift of prophecy?
Already I showed my people all their path.
And Loxias did not smite thee in his wrath?
After that sin, no man believed me more.
Nay, then to us thy wisdom seemeth sure.
Oh, agony, agony! Again the awful pains of prophecy are on me, maddening as they fall. Ye see them there, right? Beating against the wall? So young, like shapes that gather in a dream, slain by a hand they loved. Children they seem, murdered. And in their hands they bear baked meat. I think it is themselves. Yea, flesh, I see it, and inward parts. Oh, what a horrible load to carry. And their father drank their blood. Oh. From these I warn ye, vengeance broodeth still, a lion's rage, which goes not forth to kill, but lurketh in his lair, watching the high hall of my war-gone master. Master? Mine! The yoke is nailed about my neck. O Lord, ships and trampler on the wreck of Ilion knows he is not who she-wolf's tongue, which licks and fawns and laughs with ear upsprung, to bite in the end like secret death. And can the woman slay a strong-armed man? What a frangid reptile like to her doth creep. Some serpent, Amphin's been, some Scylla, deep housed in the rock where sailors shriek and die, mother of hell blood raging, which doth cry on her own flesh war without alloy. God! And she shouted in his face her joy, like men in battle when foe doth break, and feigns thanksgiving for his safety's sake. And what if no man believe me? 'Tis all one. The thing that which must shall be, aye, and soon thou shalt sorrow for these things. And here stand and confess me all too true a seer.
The Thyestean feast of children slain I understood, and tremble. Aye, my brain reels at these visions, beyond guesswork true, but after though I heard I had lost the clue.
Thou shalt look on Agamemnon, dead.
Peace, mouth of evil, be those words unsaid.
No god of peace hath watched upon that hour.
If it must come, forfend it heavenly power.
They do not think of prayer. They think of death.
They say what man this foul deed compasseth.
Alas, thou art indeed fallen far astray.
How could such deed be done? I see no way.
Yet know I not the Greek tongue all too well.
Greek are the Delphic dooms, but hard to spell.
Ah, there! What a strange fire! It moves. It comes at me.
Where?
O wolf Apollo. Wolf Apollo. Mercy. O agony. Why lies she with the wolf, this lioness lone, two-handed when the royal lion is gone? God, she will kill me. Like to them that brew poison, I see her mingle for me too, a separate vial in her wreath. Wrath, I sin and swear, wetting her blade for him, that I must share of his death, because he hath dragged me here. Why these mockers at my throat? This gear of wreathed bands, this staff of prophecy? I mean to kill you first before I die. Be gone! Down to perdition! Lie ye so? I requite you. Now make rich in woe some other bird of evil, me no more. I see. It is Apollo's self hath tore his crown for me, who watched me long ago in his same prophet's robe. By friend, by foe, all in one voice, all blinded, mocked to scorn. All thing of dreams. A beggar made outworn. Poor starving and reviled, I endured all. And now the seer, who called me till my call was perfect, leads me to this last dismay. 'Tis not the altar stone where men did slay my father, 'tis a block with gore yet hot that waits me, one of slain before. Yet not of God unheeded shall we lie. There cometh after one who lifteth high the downfallen, a branch where the bosometh a sire's avenging and a mother's death. Exiled and wandering, from this land outcast, one day he shall return and set the last crown on these sins that have his house downtrod. For lo, there is a great oath sworn of God. His father's upturned face shall guide him home. Why should I grieve? Why pity these men's doom? I who have seen the city of Ilion pass as she passed, and they who cast her down have thus their end, as God gives judgment sure. I go to drink my cup. I will endure to die. O gates, death gates, all hail to you. Only pray, God, the blow be stricketh true. Pray, God, unagonized, with blood that flows quick unto friendly death, these eyes may close.
Oh, full of sorrows, full of wisdom great, woman, thy speech is a long anguish, yet, knowing thy doom, why walkest thou with clear eyes like some God-blinded beast to sacrifice?
There is no escape, friends, only vain delay.
Is not the later still the sweeter day?
It has come. Small profit now to fly.
Through all thy griefs, woman, thy heart is high.
Alas, none of that is happy hears that praise.
Are not the brave dead blessed in after days?
O Father, of my brethren brave, I come.
What frights thee? What is that thou startest from?
Fa.
What turns thee in that blind horror, unless some loathing of the mind?
Death, drifting from the doors, and blood like rain,
'Tis but the dumb beasts at the altar slain.
and vapor from a charnel house. See there?
'Tis Tyrian incense clouding in the air.
So be it. I will go in yonder room to weep mine own and our Agamemnon's doom. May death be all. Strangers, I am no bird that pippeth trembling at a thicket stirred by the empty wind. Bear witness on that day when women for this woman's life shall pay, and man for man ill-mated low shall lie. I ask this boon, and as being about to die.
Alas, I pity thee thy mystic fate.
One word, one dirge word song would I utter yet, o'er mine's own corpse. To this last shining sun I pray that, when the Avenger's work is done, his enemies may remember this thing too. This little thing. The woman slave they slew. O world of men, farewell. A painted show is all thy glory, and when life is low, the touch of a wet sponge out blotteth all. O sadder this than any proud man's fall.
Great fortune is an hungry thing, and filleth no heart anywhere. Though men with fingers menacing point at the great house, none will dare. When fortune knocks to bar the door, proclaiming, "Come, thou hear no more," lo, to this man the gods have given great Ilion in the dust to tread, and home return emblazed of heaven. If it is writ, he too shall go, through blood for blood spilt long ago. If he too, dying for the dead, should crown the deaths of alien years, what mortal far off who hears shall boast him fortune's child, and let above the eternal tide of tears?
Oh, treason in the house! I am wounded! Slain!
Hush! In the castle 'twas a cry of some man wounded mortally.
Oh God! Another! I am stricken again!
I think the deed is done. It was the king who groaned. Stand close and think if anything.
I give you straight my judgment. Summon all the citizens to rescue. Sound a call.
No, no! Burst in at once without a word, in, and convict them by their dripping sword.
Yes, that or something like it. Quick, I say, be doing. 'Tis a time for no delay.
We have time to think. This opening. They have planned some scheme to make enslavement of the land.
Yes, well, we linger here. They take no thought of lingering, and their sword arm sleepeth not.
I have no counsel, I speak not. Oh, let him give counsel who can strike a blow.
I say as this man says, I have no trust in words to raise a dead man from the dust.
How mean you? Drag out our poor lives and stand cowering to these defilers of the land?
Nay, 'tis too much. Better to strive and die. Death is an easier doom than slavery.
We heard a sound of groaning, nothing plain. How know we? Are we seers that one is slain?
Oh, let us find the truth out. Ere we grow thus passionate, to surmise is not to know. Break it then! 'Tis the counsel ye all bring, and learn for sure how it is with the king. They cluster up towards the palace door as though to force an entrance, when the great door swings open, revealing Clytemnestra, who stands axe in hand over the dead bodies of Agamemnon and Cassandra. The body of Agamemnon is wrapped in a rich crimson web. There is blood on Clytemnestra's brow, and she speaks in wild triumph.
Oh, lies enough and more have I this day spoken, who now I shame not to unsay. How should a woman work to the utter end, hate on a damned hater, feigned a friend. How pile perdition round him, hunter wise, too high for overleaping, save by lies. To me this hour was dreamed of long ago, a thing of ancient hate. 'Twas very slow in coming, but it came, and here I stand, even where I struck, with all the deed I planned done. 'Twas so wrought, what boots it to deny? The man could neither guard himself nor fly an endless web, as by some fisher strung. A deadly plenteousness of robe I flung all about him and struck twice. And with two cries his limbs turned water and broke, and as he lies I cast my third stroke in, a prayer well sped to Zeus of hell, who guardeth safe his dead. So there he gasped his life out as he lay, and gasping the blood spouted like dark spray that splashed. It came, a salt and deathly dew, sweet, sweet as God's dear raindrops ever blew over a parched field the day the buds are born. Which things being so, ye counselors high born, to part in joy, if joy you will. For me, I glory. Oh, if such a thing might be, as over the dead thank offering to outpour on this dead, it were just, aye, just and more, who filled the cup of the house with treacheries, curse fraught, and here drank it to the lees.
We are astonied at thy speech, to fling wild mouths such vaunt over thy murdered king.
Would frighten me like a witless woman? No, this bosom shakes not. And though well ye know, I tell you, curse me as you will or bless, 'tis all one. This is Agamemnon, this my husband dead by my right hand, a blow struck by a righteous craftsman. Aye, 'tis so.
Woman, what evil tree, what poison grown of the ground, or draught of the drifting sea way to thy lips hath found, making thee clothe thy heart in rage, yea, in curses burning when thine own people pray? Thou hast hewn, thou hast cast away, and the thing cast away thou art, a thing of hate and a spurning.
Why now, for me, thou hast thy words of fate. Exile from Argos and the people's hate forever. Against him no word was cried, when recking not as 'twere a beast that died with flocks, abounding over his wide domain. He slew his child, my love, my flower of pain. Great God, as magic for the winds of Thrace? Why was he not man-hunted from his place to purge the blood that stained him? When the deed is mine, oh, then thou art a judge indeed, but threat thy fill. I am ready, and I stand content. If thy hand beateth down my hand, thou rulest. Of aught else be God's decree, the lesson shall be learned, thou late it be.
Thy thought it is very proud. Thy breath is the scorner's breath. Is not the madness loud in thy heart, being drunk with death? Yea, and above thy brow a star of the wet blood burneth. O doom shall have her day. The last friend cast away, where lie doth answer lie, and a stab for stab returneth.
And hark, what oath gods gather to my side, by my dead's child revenge, now satisfied. By mortal blindness, by all powers of hell, which hate, to whom in sacrifice he fell. My hope shall walk not in the house of fear, while on my hearth one fire yet burneth clear. One lover, one Aegisthus, as of old. What should I fear? When fallen here I hold this foe, this scorner of his wife, this toy and fool of each Chryseis under Troy. And therewithal his soothsayer and brave, his chanting bedfellow, his leman brave, who rubbed the galley's benches at his side, but oh, they had their guardian as they died. For he lies thus, and she, the wild swan's way, hath trod her last long weeping roundelay, and lies his lover ravished o'er the main, for his bed's comfort and my deep disdain.
Would God that suddenly, with no great agony, no long sick watch to weep, my hour would come to me, my hour, and presently bring the eternal, the unwaking sleep. Now that my shepherd, he whose love watched over me, lies in the deep.
For woman's sake he endured and battled well, and by a woman's hand he fell.
What hast thou done, O Helen blind of brain? O face that slew the souls on Ilion's plain? One face, and many a thousand slain. The hate of all that on this castle lay, builded in lust a husband's evil day, hath bloomed for thee, a perfect flower again, an unforgotten and old and burning stain, never to pass away.
Nay, pray not for the hour of death, being tried too sore beneath these blows. Neither on Helen turn thy wrath aside, the slayer of men, that the face which hath destroyed 1,000 Danaan souls, and wrought a wide wound that no leech can close.
Demon, whose heel is set on the house and the twofold kin of the high Tandalidae, a power heavy as fate thou wieldest through woman's sin, piercing the heart of me. Like a raven swoln with hate, he hath set on the head the dead, his claw. He croaketh a song to sate his fury, and calls it law.
I call upon him, yes, call, and thy thought hath found its path. The daemon who haunts this wall, the thrice engorged wrath, from him is the ache of the flesh, for blood born and increased ere the old sore has ceased, it oozeth afresh.
Indeed, he is very great, and heavy his anger, he, the demon who guides the fate of the old Tantalidee. Alas, alas, an evil tale ye tell of desolate angers and insatiable. Ah me! And yet 'tis all as Zeus hath willed, doer of all and causer of all. By his word every chance doth fall. No end without him is fulfilled. What of these things but cometh by high heaven's counsellings?
Ah, sorrow, sorrow. My king, how shall I weep? What word shall I say? Caught in the web of this spider thing, in foul death, gasping thy life away. Woe's me, for this lavish life.
The doom of craft and the lonely dying.
Only dying.
The iron two-edged, and the hands that slay.
Weißt thou still this deed hath been my work? Nay, gaze and have no thought that this is Agamemnon's queen. 'Tis he hath round him wrought this phantom of the dead man's wife. He, the old wrath, the driver of men astray, pursuer of Atreus for the feast defiled, to assoil an ancient death, He hath paid this life. A warrior and a crowned king this day atones for a slain child.
That thou art innocent herein, what tongue dare boast? It cannot be, yet from the deeps of ancient sin the avenger may have wrought with thee. On the red slayer crasheth, groping wild for blood, more blood, to build his peace again, and wash like water the old frozen stain of the torn child.
Ah, sorrow, sorrow, my king, my king.
My king,
How shall I weep?
What word shall I say?
caught in the web of the spider thing,
In foul death,
Death,
gasp
and
life away.
woe's me,
woe's me,
Oh, this
lavish lying,
the doom of craft,
and the lonely dying,
iron to edged,
the hands
the hats.
that slay.
And what of the doom of craft that first he planted, making the house a curse? What of the blossom from this root riven, Iphigenia the unforgiven? Even as the wrong was, so is the pain. He shall not laugh in the house of the slain. When the count is scored, he hath but spoiled and paid again the due of the sword.
I am lost, my mind dull-eyed, knows not nor feels whither to fly nor hide, while the house reels. The noise of rain that falls on the roof affrighteth me, washing away the walls, rain that falls bloodily. Doth ever the sound abate? Lo, the next hour of fate, whetting her vengeance due on new whetstones for new workings of hate. Would thou hadst covered me,
me, worth of earth,
or ere I had looked
On my lord thus flow,
in the
pallid
pallid.
marble of silvern girth,
What hands,
they shroud him. What tears may flow?
hey foe,
not thine,
Woman who dared to slay him.
thou dost
dost
not weep to him now, nor pray him.
nor pay to his soul the deep unworth of gift, or pray to forget thy blow. Oh, who with heart sincere
Shall bring praise or grief?
to lay on the sepulchre of the great chief.
His burial is not thine to array. By me he fell, by me he died. I watch him to the grave, not cried by mourners of his house folk, nay, his own child for a day like this waits, as in seemly, and shall run by the white waves of Acheron to fold him in her arms and kiss.
Lo, she who was erst reviled revileth. Who shall say, spoil taken from them that spoil, lifeblood from them that slay? Surely while God ensueth his laws, while time doth run, 'tis written, on him that doeth, it shall be done. This is lauds, this is grace. Who then shall hunt the race of curses from out this hall? The house is sealed withal to dreadfulness.
Aye, thou hast found the law, and stepped in truth's way. Yet even now I call the living wrath which haunts this hall to truce and compact. I accept all the affliction he doth heap upon me, and I charge him go far off with his self-murdering woe to strange men's houses. I will keep some little dower, and leave behind all else, contented utterly. I have swept the madness from the sky wherein these brethren slew their kind.
Oh,
O shining day! O dawn of righteousness fulfilled! Now indeed will I confess that divine watchers o'er man's death and birth look down on all the anguish of the earth. Now that I see him lying, as I love to see him, in this net the Furies wove, to atone the old craft of his father's hand. For Atreus, this man's father, in this land reigning, and by Thyestes in his throne challenged, he was his brother and mine own father, from home and city cast him out. And he, after long exile, turned about and threw him suppliant on the hearth, and won promise of so much mercy that his own life-blood should reek not in his father's hall. Then did the goddess brother Atreus call to greet my sire. More eagerness, O God, was there than love, a feast of brotherhood, and feigning joyous banquet, laid as meat before him his dead children. The white feet, the finger-fringed hands apart he set, veiled from all seeing, and made separate the tables. And he straightway, knowing not, took of those bodies, eating that which wrought no health for all his race. And when he knew the unnatural deed, back from the board he threw, spewing that murderous gorge, and spurning brake the table. To make strong the curse he spake, "Thus perish all the Pleisthenes begot." For that lies this man here, and all the plot is mine, most righteously. For me, the third, the butchering my two brethren, Atreus spared and cast me with my broken sire that day, a little thing in swaddling clothes, away to exile, where I grew, and at the last justice hath brought me home. Yea, though outcast in a far land, mine arm hath reached this king, my brain, my hate, wrought all the counselling, and all is well. I have seen mine enemy dead in the snare, and care not if I die.
It is this, to insult over the dead I like not. All the counsel thou hast said was thine alone, and thine the will that spilled that piteous blood. As justice is fulfilled, thou shalt not scape, so my heart presageth the day of cursing and the hurled death.
How, thou poor oarsman of the nether row, when the main deck is master? Say'st thou so? To such old heads the lesson may prove hard. I fear me, when obedience is the word. But hunger and bond and cold help men find their wits. They are wondrous healers of the mind. Hast eyes, and seest not this? Against a spike kick not, for fear it may pain if thou strikes.
Woman! Clytemnestra, a soldier fresh from war, to keep watch o'er his house and shame him in his sleep, to plot his craft against a lord of spears.
Be the words, old man, that lead to tears. Thou hast an opposite to Orpheus' tongue, who chained all things with his enchanting song. For thy mad noise will put the chains on thee. Enough! Once mastered, thou shalt tamer be.
Thou master, is old Argos so accursed? Thou plotter afar off who never durst raise thine own hand to affront and strike him down.
To entice him was the wife's work. I was known by all men here, his old confessed blood foe. Albeit with his possessions, I will know how to be king. And who obeys not me shall be yoked hard. No easy trace horse he, corn-flushed. Hunger and hunger's prison mate, and clammy murk shall see the rage abate.
Thou craven soul, why not in open strife slay him? Why lay the blood sin on his wife, staining the gods of Argos, making ill the soil thereof? But young Orestes still liveth. Oh, fate will guide him home again, avenging, conquering, home to kill these twain.
For God, if 'tis your pleasure thus to speak and do, ye soon shall hear. Oh, there, my trusty pike, advance! There comes business for a spear.
Ho there, ye men of Argos, up! Stand and be ready, sword from sheath!
By heaven, I also, sword in hand, am ready and refuse not death.
Come, find it! We accept thy word, thou offerest what we hunger for. Some of the elders draw swords with the leader, others have collapsed with weakness. Men from Agamemnon's retinue have gathered and prepare for battle, when, before they can come to blows, Clytemnestra breaks from her exhausted silence.
Nay, peace. O best beloved, peace, and let us work no evil more. Surely the reaping of the past is a full harvest, and not good. And wounds enough are everywhere, let us not stain ourselves with blood. Ye reverend elders, go your ways, to his own dwelling, every one, ere things be wrought for which men suffer. What we did must needs be done. And if all of these strifes we now may have no more, oh, I will kneel and praise God, bruised though we be beneath the daemon's heavy heel. This is the word a woman speaks, to hear if any man will deign.
And who are these to burst in flower of folly thus of tongue and brain, and utter words of empty sound and perilous, tempting fortune's frown, and leave wise counsel all forgot, and gird at him who wears the crown?
To cringe before a caitiff's crown, it squareth not with Argive ways.
I will be hand of wrath to fall on thee in after days.
Not so, if God in after days shall guide Orestes home again.
I know how men in exile feed on dreams, and no such food is vain.
Go forward and wax fat, defile the right for this thy little hour.
I spare thee now. Know well that all this folly thou shalt feel my power.
I vaunt thy greatness as a bird beside his mate doth vaunt and swell.
Vain hounds are baying round thee, oh, forget them. Thou and I shall dwell as kings in this great house. We two at last will order all things well.
The elders and the remains of Agamemnon's retinue retire sullenly, leaving the spearmen in possession. Clytemnestra and Aegisthus turn and enter the palace. Agamemnon by Aeschylus, a Jaillot Théâtre production. Chris Turner was Agamemnon. Paula K. Long was Clytemnestra. Paul Euler was Aegisthus. Haley Elizabeth Biermeister was Cassandra and one of the elders. Charles E. Weinstein was a watchman, a herald, and one of the elders. Jacqueline Elizabeth was the leader of the chorus and an elder. Miranda Hanash was an elder and a member of the chorus. And Ryan Smith was a member of the chorus. Agamemnon, a Jaillot Théâtre production.